majority of us tend to have issues with. Again, when we look at lifestyles nowadays, we have to look at what the most common things that we are doing and how that starts to have an impact on the way that our body then works. And so what we want to basically have a look at is the rib cage. So we've already looked at concepts for the forward head posture and the lower cross posture, and the back, basically, or the upper back in this situation basically gets involved quite a lot. So what we want to have a look at is something called thoracic extension. Now, thoracic extension essentially looks at the rib cage. Now, as the head goes forward and the hips go forward, what we tend to get, as far as the curves in our spine are concerned, typically we should look something like this. And what tends to happen with the forward head posture is obviously the head starts to go forward and we over curve through the rest. And so we have this big influx here, which is what we were talking about the other day. And then we have this forward head movement here, which we've also talked about. But then we have this excessive kyphosis through this area. And what we essentially want to look at doing is actually returning this curve forward, like we've done with returning these curves back. Okay, so we're going to have a look at a couple of exercises that really help to open up the chest, the rib cage, get the rib cage moving a little bit better. This should help with stuff like headaches, upper back pain, lower back pain, neck pain. Can even start to help with shoulder pain and even breathing and organ disorders. So as we become very slouchy and stuck over, our shoulders roll in, which makes them much more susceptible to stuff like impingement syndromes. We also start to obviously slouch over, so our head starts to go forward, so the muscles in the base of the neck start to get irritated. We can irritate the nerve roots coming out from the side of the neck. And so the actual postural alignment and mechanics of these changes can absolutely have huge issues. They've actually also looked at thoracic extension in, say, for example, situations such as asthma. And even with something like asthma, that improved mobility in the ribs and the actual rib cage itself has actually been shown to decrease the effects of things like asthma as well, just purely because you can breathe easier. So what we're going to go through a series of 3 or 4 exercises that you can quite comfortably do at home. Most of it is done with very minimal equipment. So the first exercise we're going to have a little look at is using a foam roller to build thoracic extension. So what you want to do is you want to run this across the top of the back. What we're going to have a look at is we're not actually going to go into our low back when we do this. As you can see, I stop at the bottom of the rib cage, but essentially what we want to try and do is pass our hands over the top of our head, try and keep those fully extended as possible, whilst letting the foam roller roll up and down. So you're going to use your legs to control the movement on this one. You also want to control your breathing. As you're rolling up and down, you actually do want to exhale. If you don't breathe, essentially the ribs don't move particularly well, they lock. You may actually also find with this movement that you get a couple of pops and clicks. That's absolutely okay. That's just some of the joints actually allowing the nitrogen just to escape from the joint. We're going to look at the next one now. This is another thoracic extension exercise. We're just going to use the foam roller again. Essentially what we want to do is you want to try and get the base of the foam roller around your sacrum. So this is just where the pelvis is, so right at the bottom. And you're also going to want to try and get it all the way to the base of the neck. Some foam rollers aren't long enough. You want to try and aim for one that's about 1 meter long. Essentially what we're going to do is try and flatten as much of our back to the foam roller as possible and just let our hands hang out to both sides. So just letting those shoulders flop back, keeping the chin tucked in as well. Just keeping the muscles in the deep neck flexors really, really engaged. But again, it's just really looking at opening up the chest and the pecs. When you roll off, try to roll off to the side as not to hurt yourself. So this one's one of my favorite thoracic extension exercises. Essentially all you need is a chair. You're going to reach out in front of you to do this one. So you're going to go onto you're going to go onto your knees to do this one. And then you're going to essentially take your elbows to the edge of the chair and you're essentially going to take your chest
to the floor. So with this one, you don't really want to take your belly button to the floor. It needs to really be your chest, so to try and avoid hyperextension in the lumbar spine. So you want to keep your core contracted as you push forward. You want to take some nice deep breaths. Every time you take a deep breath, what you're going to find is you can probably see on a couple of these, as I take the breath in, and then as it comes back out again, you're just going to try and sink a little bit deeper into it. So this is position 1 with the elbows bent and hands on the back of your neck or on your upper back. We're going to show you a second position now, which is with the hands extended. So you're going to take your hands out straight in front of you. You're going to just move back slightly, and it's exactly the same position, but we're going to hit slightly different. So this one actually helps to hit your lats a little bit more, whereas the previous one was really looking at your triceps as well. So again, you just want to do the same kind of process, just letting your breath take control of the movement. So as you're taking a nice deep breath in, you may raise up a little bit, and as you take that breath all the way out again, you're just going to drop back down. So looking at the fourth and final exercise, this is essentially a spinal twist. So we're going to come into a side lying position with our knees bent up. Our bottom hand is going to basically support so that we don't move too much with the hips, because we want to keep those hips facing forward. Obviously, what you can see from the top is we're actually touching in front of us, and then we're going to rotate all the way behind us. Personally, I recommend maybe doing 5 to 10 turns on either side. For demonstration purposes today, what I've done is 3. Also, I recommend when you get to the top and you're actually all the way open, when your hand is all the way open, so when we're here, I'd recommend holding for around 5 to 10 if you're really looking to really improve. Also, you want to keep that hand above your shoulder level, not below. I'm just going to do one more just for the demonstration.